Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Well, hello there, everybody. A little different stream today. Just your boy. No Donovan today. He is currently at a work event doing big boy things, making big boy money, bigger boy money than me. So he's going to do his thing. So you're just going to have to deal with me. Alright. It's already difficult enough when both him and I are here together, keeping things on track and keeping the stream going. And usually it's my fault. Usually it's my fault that things go astray, that things don't. We'll be talking about the injury report for the Carolina Panthers, and next thing you know, we're talking about RBs. I don't know how it happens. It just kind of does, and it's probably going to happen again. It's probably going to happen today. But, and my mic's kind of spazzing out. So if at any point you guys get ear raped, I do sincerely apologize. I don't know what's up with that. I would like to point out, I am by myself today. There is no Donovan. There is just that handsome, wonderful face that you see right there on your screen. And guess what time it is? It's exactly 7 o'clock and we're live, okay? I'm not saying it's Donovan's fault that whenever we go live, it's usually late. I'm just saying I'm here. He's not. We're on time. That's all I got to say. Welcome to the live stream, everybody. If you like to get involved, please get down in the chat. Since it's just me today, definitely gonna be a lot more involved in the chat. I actually placed it a little bit better on my screen so I can see y'all instead of having to look down on my phone trying to respond to y'all. So get involved in the chat, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and we're just gonna get straight into it. So, did you know that we're playing the Eagles this week? Did you know that we're playing on Sunday Night Football for the second time this year? Most of my life, geez, I don't even know. So I was born in 2000. And since 2000, I really wonder how many Sunday Night Football games that we've had since then. I really started watching football. The first Dolphins game I remember was actually a Dolphins game that I went to. Ironically enough, it was during the Nick Saban year. We played, I believe it was the Buffalo Bills at home. We scored a game-winning touchdown. And I was there. The only thing I remember, see, the mic just did it again. If the mic just is spiking out of nowhere, I apologize. I don't know. I didn't do nothing differently. I could try to turn it down a little bit, but I don't know. I apologize. Anyways, the very first Dolphin game I went to with my grandparents, with my mom. I remember the last play was like a rushing touchdown on like the 2-yard line or something, and we scored with like 10 seconds to go. It's the last Dolphins game I remember. But I say all that to say, gosh, how many Sunday Night Football games have we had in my entire life? It's been a probably pitifully low amount. Last year, primetime games, we had the Sunday night game against the Steelers. Thursday night doesn't count. Also, something I forgot about, we don't even have a Thursday night game this year. We have a Friday night game. We have that game the day after Thanksgiving against the Jets at like something stupid like 3 or 4 o'clock. I don't know. I don't know what it was. But it's been an absurdly low amount of primetime games since I've been a Dolphins fan, and it's a beautiful thing to celebrate, and it's a really good game for the second one this season against the Philadelphia Eagles, a team that when I was growing up, I despised the Eagles. I've grown up in a household where there's a lot of New York sports fans. My dad is a massive Giants fan from upstate New York. I say massive. It's very difficult for him to be a Giants fan right now. He doesn't even watch the games. My stepdad's a Giants fan. My mom is like the lone Dolphins fan that I have around the area. And we both go to the game. She has her season tickets. I have my season tickets. But what was I going with that? Something about a good game, probably. The Eagles. Grew up hating the Eagles. But in recent times, with the new personnel that they have on hand, I'm talking head coach, I'm talking GM, I'm talking quarterback, I'm talking the entire team. The entire team is guys that I like, guys that I enjoy. I love Sirianni. I love how Howie Roseman runs the team. Jalen Hurts, we'll get to him very quickly. I love watching Jalen Hurts play. I was very sad. Somehow I drafted 6 fantasy leagues this year. I had one. No, that's not true. I drafted 5 fantasy leagues this year. One was a super flex dynasty. I had the 101, so obviously I'm going Mahomes, and obviously I'm not getting Jalen Hurts. Somehow, what's up, Jadis? Ooh, we got some Philly fans in here first. That's different. I love Jalen Hurts playing. I was so sad I didn't get to get Jalen Hurts because I love what I see from him as a person. I love him as a player. I was so enamored by him last year, so impressed from his development. I was very critical. And Liz, I know Liz is going to pop in here at some point in the chat. And Liz, my girlfriend, loves Jalen Hurts. And she loves to bring up how I was wrong about him. And to be fair, at the time, I had some very valid criticism of Jalen Hurts, which, again, something we'll get into very soon. But I love Jalen Hurts. I love Devonta Smith. Have him in multiple fantasy leagues. A.J. Brown is just an absolute dog. Second in the league in receiving. Just, again, absolute dog out there. Like, they went from a team that I hated to a team that I admire and love. And I hated Philly fans, and now I love watching Philly fans. It's so crazy that I've had just this dramatic switch of I hated Philadelphia sports, I hated everything about the Eagles, to I love everything about the Eagles, and I love everything about Philadelphia sports. Like, if there is a sports town other than New York, because, again, growing up with a New York sports family, so, again, my family likes the Giants, the Rangers, the Yankees, not really the Knicks, but I was kind of accustomed growing up like that, so therefore I hated the Eagles, and now I love them. I think we lose this game, but I don't know. We'll see 35-30. Man, Jadis, it's going to be a good game. It's going to be a very good game one way or another, especially with both teams being very depleted in the secondary and two very good receivers on both sides of the ball. We'll also see how Devonta Smith's injury lingers on. So the first thing I want to talk about is, of course, the two quarterbacks. Jalen Hurts and Tua are going to be a talking point forever. As long as they're as in the NFL together, they are going to be a massive talking point, kind of similar to Tua and Justin Herbert. Tua was the guy that took over for Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts had to go over to Oklahoma and had his success there. But those two are forever connected. They're very different quarterbacks. Jalen Hurts has, in a way, become more like Tua. He still has the ability to run the ball, but he's so much more comfortable in the pocket than he used to be. But those two are forever going to be connected. And I just want to take a look at, really, of the two quarterbacks, who is better? I mean, so if you're just looking at this season, you bring out the statistics. So far this season, it is Tua. Tua is the better of the two quarterbacks. Tua with 1,876 yards. You're looking at 14 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, where you go down to Jalen Hurts, 1,500 passing yards, 7 and 7. Has had quite a few interceptions so far, and we saw that was really costly at the end of that Jets game, that massive interception that set the Jets up goal to go and ended up winning the game for the Jets. Jalen Hurts still has the ability to run the ball. It seems like he's cut back on it a little bit, but I think that's kind of an illusion. You look at last year, he ran the ball for 760 yards, 13 touchdowns. So far this season, he's on pace to finish like around 715 yards and just over 10 rushing touchdowns. So a little bit less than what he did last year. But there's a lot of, I think, misconceptions about this Eagles team. They're obviously beat up. You're looking at Lane Johnson on the offensive line. You're looking at Devonta Smith on offense, and then just the secondary. I think I saw a stat that at least one game or one secondary player every single week has missed a game. You're talking Darius Slay. You're talking about James Bradbury. And then Reed Blankenship, who's their leading tackler. He just got added to the injury list. And we'll go more into depth with the injuries later. But this Eagles team as a whole, I think, has kind of gotten a misconception that they're somehow worse than last year. And Jalen Hurts, I believe, is in that category. And then you look at what the two quarterbacks do superbly. Do I think Julio Jones plays? I don't think Julio Jones plays. Just kind of similar like Jalen Ramsey. Jalen Ramsey's recovering from an injury, so slightly differently. But I think Julio's probably going to take a week, especially at his age. He's not really in a position where he can just go out and play immediately. But I would love to see Julio Jones play. I mean, I'm a fan of the Dolphins, but I'm a fan of football, and I want to see Julio go out there and perform, even if he's not necessarily at his best. But what I was saying about the two quarterbacks, Jalen Hurts and Tua. Jalen Hurts came into this league and was, how to put this kindly, the furthest thing from a refined passer in the league. You look at his, I think he was bottom 5% in accuracy. The turnovers are there. He doesn't have the strongest arm. Neither does Tua. There are two of the weaker arms in the league. And Jalen Hurts, to give him all the credit in the world, has flipped that on its head. He does have the benefit of one of, if not the best offensive lines of football. Had a very good offensive coordinator. They're still trying to figure out the offense this year. And then all pro weapons on the outside, which, again, Tua has gotten two. So very comparable situations between Jalen Hurts and Tua. He went from bottom 5% in accuracy, completely flipped out on his head, became a very efficient thrower of the ball. And part of that efficiency throwing the ball is the threat that he poses on the ground, where teams have to keep honest. When you have your secondaries, when you have your middle linebackers, where they have to keep one eye in the backfield at all times, it opens guys up, especially when you have A.J. Brown, especially when you have Devonta Smith, Dallas Goedert, guys that all do very different things. A.J. Brown is just, again, an absolute dog, uses his body, the strength, good route running, great hands. Devonta Smith, a little craftier, more quick, can hit you over the top. Dallas Goedert is going to find the open spots in those zone. You have guys that he's throwing to that all three can do very different things. And then as a defender, as a secondary, you have to keep track of all these things going on at the same time. And that has certainly helped out Jalen Hurts. Not something to discredit Jalen Hurts, but it certainly helped Jalen Hurts. You look into it. You don't get the athletic ability. He's going to roll out to his left. Please, for the love of God, do not roll out to your right. But he's going to roll out to his left, and he could pick up some yards. He has the ability to pick up a first down or two if need be, but you're never going to design runs for Tua, especially with the health that we've seen him have, the health issues we've seen him have of recent years. Probably most accurate quarterback in the league, one of the most accurate quarterbacks we've ever seen. The ball placement, that touchdown he had to Waddle on Sunday where he's running to his left and he's kind of throwing it against his body. I didn't get quite to see how, on a line it was with Waddle in the end zone versus him. I wasn't sitting in my normal seats. Usually I'm up in the upper deck and I'm in the end zone and I can see stuff like that. I was in the lower deck with my mom watching the game. He's rolling out to his left and throwing it back. Two defenders right there easily could have converged on the ball if they, just had a better first step. And right there in the hands of Waddle, the ball placement on Tyreek's pass over the top, right into a bucket, right exactly where you want it. So these are two superb quarterbacks, two Pro Bowl caliber quarterbacks, two quarterbacks that have proven that they're able to take their teams far. Jalen Hurts, I guess Tua hasn't quite yet, but he did in college, winning a national championship game, and outside of his injuries, had an incredible time at University of Alabama. And Jalen Hurts getting to the Super Bowl last year, tremendous success in college, has done nothing but get better in the NFL, and now he is where he is. If you have to break it down, though, which of the two guys you'd rather have, it is so close. I think you have your top tier of quarterbacks in the NFL. You have your Patrick Mahomes. You have Josh Allen. You have Joe Burrow. You have, I guess I'd probably put Herbert there. Not the best of games on Monday, dealing with a broken finger. Give the guy a break. A lot of Dolphins fans I know love to hate on Justin Herbert, even though it was not his fault that we chose to ahead of him. He's a fantastic quarterback, fantastic athlete. So probably those four. There's some other guys you could argue right there. But then you get to that tier 2, and that's where you have Jalen Hurts. That's where you have Tua. That's where you have Trevor Lawrence, arguably Matthew Stafford. Again, there's levels to it. Both Jalen Hurts and Tua are right there in that tier 2. It is not a lot to separate them. But when you start stripping away pieces, when the contracts start coming into play, and it kind of, I want to pick Tua as a Dolphins fan. I love Tua. You guys who've watched for a while, you guys know that I have had my reservations as to whether I think Tua is a long-term guy, but today, how he's playing right now, staying healthy, I think Tua is a long-term guy. Give him that contract. Let him continue to play out. They're very They do some very similar things well. Hurts' accuracy has gone up a lot, but when the money starts to come into play, and you have to strip away assets, you have to lose a wide receiver. Are the Eagles gonna be able to pay A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith? Are the Dolphins gonna be able to pay Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle? The Bengals next year are gonna have to make a decision to pay both Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, or let T. Higgins walk. It's not an unlimited funds league. When you start stripping away assets, if I got to be honest, I would rather have the guy who can add something else to the game, who is a little bit more dynamic, who can use his feet, who has that big body, that the big lower frame that you trust, doesn't have the injury history. So of the two, just slightly, I know I'm going to get hate for this. I know I'm going to get hate for this, but just ever so slightly, I'd rather have Jalen Hurts over Tua. That hurts to say. Pun intended. Jadis, Jadis, I think I got that right. Let me catch up on some of the things that you said here. Tua is deadly with the left arm, but no one does better than Michael Vick. Julio plays, all the saves. Yeah, I can see Dolphins 49ers Super Bowl. I don't see the Eagles. So I see you're a little more pessimistic of a fan, and that's something that Jadis I can relate to. I'm picking your guy over my guy right here. You're saying that your team's not going to make the Super Bowl. It's kind of enamored in me as a Dolphins fan, as a South Florida sports fan, to just be a little pessimistic, to just know that maybe, or be afraid that something around the corner bad is going to happen. And it sucks to be that way. I mean, you guys have had success. You guys have won Super Bowls. The Sixers haven't won a championship. Has the Flyers won a championship? I don't know. What other team am I missing? Is that it? Baseball. Phillies. Phillies are just absolutely killing it. Bryce Harper is like the most fun player to watch in all of baseball. So at least you guys have seen success. I haven't. So I understand being the pessimistic fan. I understand being the fan that you're always afraid of that what if around the corner. Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill will cook because all the Eagles do is have their quarterback 10 feet back. Lakers and the Eagles fan. Well, then you've seen plenty of success. Lakers. I mean, I'm a Heat fan. We got to see that finals in the bubble, which was a lot of fun. Didn't expect to be there, just like the Heat last year. Didn't expect to be there. Your injury issues, Tyreek and Waddle, is definitely something that I'd be concerned about if I were you. So with that, let me actually go over and go down the team's full injury reports. And one guy who's this is a rare instance that when you see a guy on the injury report, it's actually a good thing. For the Miami Dolphins, going to go down the list and then give some analysis as we go. Xavier Howard with a groin injury, Alec Ingold, Kendall Lamb, Connor Williams, Cater Kahoo, Nick Needham. Jalen Ramsey is officially on the injury report. He finally practiced today. That 21-day window opened. He will not be playing. So, Jadis, you guys are down at your corners. Well, one of ours has a groin injury. He didn't practice today. Our other one hasn't played all year long. Our third corner is also on the injury reserve. So we have our top three corners are all on the injury reserve. So it's not all just sunshines and rainbows over for our secondary either. Arguably, if they're fully healthy, our fourth corner is also on the injury reserve. Nick Needham still coming back from his Achilles. Haven't heard any reports really about whether he's going to play, so I'm going to assume he's not still trying to come back from that. I think I actually said Nick Needham before I said Jalen Ramsey. Chase Claypool with the knee that I didn't even know he had a knee injury. Full participant practice. So, solid chance we might see Chase Claypool's debut. And, there's a lot of mixed opinions in the Dolphins world about what Chase Claypool actually brings to this team. Is he a locker room cancer? Was he a bad acquisition? Let's find out. I'm excited to find out. Because if he sucks, if he is a locker room cancer, bye. See ya. And if he's not, cool. We just got a viable wide receiver for pennies on the dollar. Jalen Phillips, full participant. Jeff Wilson, full participant. So the biggest concern on there is Xavier Howard. The groin injury, did not practice. Reports are still very much in the air. It is a very much we have to wait and see. The fact that we play on Sunday Night Football instead of 1 o'clock, I guess maybe helps a little bit. But that groin is very difficult to play through, and I found out the hard way. I'm sorry. I keep seeing that mic spike. I don't know if it's that bad on your guys' end too, but I see it spiking on my end. So I'm sorry if it is. I don't know why, because I'm not hitting the desk. I'm not doing anything. I don't know why it's spiking. But I digress. That groin injury, I found it the hard way. Last Friday, me, Donovan, Mannon, who, if you guys were watching the Chargers preview, he was our boy that was the Chargers fan. He was on the preview. I was supposed to have Liz on here tonight, but she's not feeling good, so understandable. But me, Donovan, Mannon, and our buddy Joe, who he's going to come on when we do the Jets preview. So look out for him. So basically, we're all big football fans. We went out played football. Didn't stretch properly. Kind of did like a standing stretch, just to kind of go through the motions and know in my mind that I did it. And I'm playing corner against Mannon, who's he's pretty quick, pretty shifty, skinnier guy, quicker guy. I'm 6'6", 255. I don't move side to side particularly easily. So I was guarding him as a corner. We're just messing around running routes, and I step with my left foot as he crosses over the middle. I step to change directions, and I just felt it immediately. So from an unathletic, I just saw a spike again. As an unathletic, tall dude, I'm somewhat athletic. Maybe I should give myself credit. As somebody who is not Xavier Howard, as somebody who is not one of the premier corners in the NFL, it's very difficult to turn and move quickly when that groin is messing with you. It's those soft tissue muscular injuries that can really nag. We see it with Justin Jefferson right now. Justin Jefferson was chilling on the sideline against the Chiefs, standing there like this, arms folded, looking at the Jumbotron. He looked cool, calm, and collected. He's out for 6 weeks. Those soft muscular injuries are literally and figuratively a pain. So Xavier Howard, again, pessimistic here, just in my blood. If I had to guess, I'd say he probably misses the game. But if he could just grind this one out, potentially mix the game next week, and then Jalen Ramsey comes back next week, chef's kiss, beautiful. Going down the list, Connor Williams missed the game. Did he miss 1 or 2 games in a row? Definitely missed the game last week, also with a groin injury. Again, that one I can more relate to. Big guy, trying to move side to side quickly, groin injury. Center position, which I guess of the positions might be the easiest to deal with an injury like that. So he has still yet to practice. Xavier Howard, Alec Ingold, Connor Williams all did not practice because of an injury. Kendall Lamb had a personal issue. I'm not sure what it is. I'm not even going to pretend to speculate. Kader Kahu, neck injury. Kind of sucks, but I think he should be able to muscle through. Nick Needham, Jalen Ramsey, and Chase. Well, of the limiteds, Nick Needham, Jalen Ramsey, limited. Still waiting to see their comebacks. Probably not going to be this week. And then Chase Claypool, Jalen Phillips, Jeff Wilson, all 100% full good a go. And with that, I fully 100% expect all of them to play. Now, Chase Claypool, if it's a coaching decision to play somebody else instead of him, then that makes sense. But Jalen Phillips, suffering with that oblique injury, he played last week, was on a snap count. I think he was only out there like 30 defensive snaps or something. So he played. He already played, so I don't really think there's any doubt in my mind that he will miss. And then Jeff Wilson probably is going to make his season debut, backing up Raheem Mostert, and we do desperately need that backup running back. We saw Chris Brooks go down. Savon Ahmed, not quite getting it done. Had that garbage time touchdown. So that's the Dolphins injury report. And then, like I said, the Eagles do have themselves some significant injury issues. So the best player on this injury report probably being Lane Johnson. Had his ankle rolled upon in that Jets game earlier on in the game. Did not participate in practice. Reed Blankenship, leading tackler on the season. He also did not participate in practice. And then Bradley Roby, corner, did not participate. As well as Devonta Smith with the hamstring. And again, those soft tissue injuries can just linger on. Those 4 did not practice. Jalen Carter, Dallas Goedert, Darius Slay, and Milton Williams all practiced. Okay, Jacob. Practiced in some limited capacity. And then Sidney Brown, Eli Ricks, Marlon Tui Pelotu. ABC. You pick. I don't know. I couldn't tell you what it is. Jeff's turf sucks. You are talking to the leader of the fan club of the stupidest thing in sports is having players who could potentially make you hundreds of millions of dollars playing on crappy equipment or with crappy equipment. Manchester United played, I think it was Manchester United. Manchester United played, I'm pretty sure, in New York at Jet Stadium. They had the turf ripped out and natural grass put in for one game. They ripped it out, put the turf back on. Somebody like to explain that to me? I understand it gets cold. It's hard to grow grass. Oh, yeah? Guess where it's also cold? Manchester, England. I'm going to check real quick. That might be more northern. Might be, again, I told you. Eventually I'm going to go off on some rants. Manchester, England might be more north, relatively speaking, than New York City. Let's find out. Oh. It is 100%. The entirety of England is way more north than New York City. England is... Is Canada province? States? I don't know. Basically, the entirety of the United Kingdom is more north than New York City. And they find a way to grow grass and have their soccer players, football players, whatever you want to call it, play on grass. You're telling me in New York City, all the amenities, I'm sure you can find somebody to care for the grass when it's cold. I digress. Turf sucks. So stupid. And the Dolphins' grass gets beat up all the time, especially when you have University of Miami playing and then Miami Dolphins playing sometimes back-to-back days. You have concerts held there. So, week 1, the grass is pretty. You get to week 15, 16, 17, potentially playoff game, it gets a little ugly. But it's grass. So, just on the premise that it's grass. I digress. Reed Blankenship, Lane Johnson, Bradley Roby, Devonta Smith, all not practicing. All pretty bad. You just take a look at the secondary. I mean, what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 secondary players on the injury report. And yeah, that's not it. They lost Avonte Maddox earlier in the year, torn pec. Justin Evans with a knee. Zach McPherson also on IR. Dear Lord. I mean, so you already lost 3 guys to IR. And then Blankenship got hurt last week against the Jets. Bradley Roby hurt the shoulder. Eli Ricks hurt his knee. Come on. Y'all miss your old type. No, we don't. No, we don't. No, we don't. I think Mike Gesicki sucks. Trust. You are not talking to a Dolphins fan that thinks Mike Gesicki's any good. Yeah, your injury report that's rough. That's a very rough word to go. Very rough injury report to look at. Darius Slay, knee, missed last game, if I'm not mistaken. That would be huge. Quez Watkins on IR. Yeah, he's not even on the list because the IR, all the IRs don't get mentioned on the injury report because it's clear they're going to miss. So Quez Watkins is out for some time. Avonte Maddox out for the season, I think. If not out for, torn pec is pretty hard to come back from. I assume he's out for the season. If he's not, apologies. So yeah, Avonte Maddox for sure out. Reed Blankenship likely out. Darius Slay limited, but again, if I had to guess, the knee injury probably out. So how much worse does it get that reports are coming out that your GM is basically just begging and pleading around the NFL spare secondary, spare corner, spare safe. He's going and again, arguably the best GM maybe in all of sports, probably in the NFL, probably the best GM in all of football, probably in arguably all of sports. I'm sure there's other guys out there. I'm trying to do a show here. All right, don't complain. The fact that he's going around please, anybody, SpongeBob spare change, please somebody, because that's how down bad the Eagles are. Going over it again, Reed Blankenship, Lane Johnson, Bradley Roby, Devonta Smith, Jalen Carter, Dallas Goedert, Darius Slay, Milton Williams, Sidney Brown, Eli Ricks, Marlon, T-name guy, all on the injury report. T-name guy, Eli Ricks, Sidney Brown, all full participants. Milton Williams, Darius Slay, Dallas Goedert, Jalen Carter, all limited. And then Devonta, Bradley, Lane, and Blankenship all did not practice. Jalen Carter has arguably been the best defensive lineman in all of football this year, defensive tackle. He's just been an absolute beast. The fact that he fell to the team that lost the Super Bowl is just absurd. I know it wasn't their pick, but still. 25 injuries smacking it seems like that. And the Dolphins aren't much better. The important guys are playing. H-An, we definitely saw... I know that one probably hit your ears. H-An being out last week and going to be out YouTube thumb 6. I don't know what that means. HM being out last week, definitely you could tell. Yeah, hey, I wouldn't say destroy our offensive line. The offensive line has been significantly better, which, when you take what we've had to play with the last, I don't know, at least 5 years, is not saying anything, but it is much improved. But Jalen Carter has been an absolute monster, just impossible to stop on the defensive line. So yeah, especially if Connor Williams doesn't play, your best interior offensive lineman, if he's able to get through the middle, most of our rushes go to the outside, though. That is the thing I will say, is that he's not going to be as disruptive. I'm not as worried about Jalen Carter disrupting the run game. I'm more worried about Jalen Carter disrupting Tua's timing by breaking up the middle. You can bring in Durham Smythe as a blocking tight end, but you're really bringing him in to block right in front of Tua. More likely Alec Ingle to do that, but he didn't practice. Chris Brooks, our de facto backup fullback, he's going to miss some time. So it is that interior of the offensive line that concerns me. Not even for the rushing attack, but just for the ability to keep Tua upright, keep Tua in his rhythm. So that does concern me. So next, what we'll do, I want to say, just take a look at comparing these two teams. And there's a narrative that the Eagles aren't as good as they were last year. And in some ways, I understand that. I say the number one way, before we even get into it, or number one reason they're not as good as they were last year, it's pretty difficult to lose two coordinators and be just as good as you were, especially early on in the season. Where you're trying to find your identity on offense, you're trying to find your identity on defense. You lose Shane Steichen to the Indianapolis Colts. You lose Jonathan Gannon to the Arizona Cardinals. That's pretty big. And then Brian Johnson, Sean Desai, apologies, don't know the pronunciation on that one, but I've heard some very good things about him, and that he's going to do a good job. I believe in both those guys because I believe in Nick Sirianni is a very good head coach, and he has the ability to replace him. He replaced Jim Schwartz with Jonathan Gannon like it was nothing, and so you lose two coordinators who are head coaches, so they're clearly very good at their job. And then you bring in Brian Johnson, you elevate him, you elevate Sean Desai, and it's going to take some time to get the offense humming and defense humming, losing two coordinators again. It's going to take some time to get them humming in the right direction. I think this team, as well as obviously the defensive injuries, is a massive issue. I think this team just needs to find its rhythm. It's going to be difficult to do that this week against a very good opponent, but they just need to find their rhythm. And even on top of that, I think it is a little bit of a myth. A little bit of a myth that they're not as good as they were last year. I think it's a case of we've gotten so used to it by now, with how our minds go. I'm 23 years old. We're addicted to social media. I still have not downloaded TikTok. Very proud of myself on that. Pat myself on the chest. But we're all addicted to social media. We're all want now. What's the newest? What's the newest trend? What's hot? What's going to get my attention today? So the Eagles, that was what they were last year. And this year, you could argue, it's Miami Dolphins. So this time next year, I say the Dolphins are 5-1 again or undefeated. People, even no matter what, especially the pace they're on this year, it's hard to look at them and be like, oh, wow, they're just as good. Oh, wow, they're better. Because all we do is want that stimulation. We want more. So let's break down what the Eagles have actually done. 5th in points, 2nd in yards. This is on offense. I'd say it's pretty good. I'd say that's very good. 1st in plays, doesn't really matter. Turnovers have gotten to be an issue, though. Jalen Hurts, 7 interceptions. They are second in the league, in turnovers. They are 5th in the league in interceptions. So he has got a bit of a turnover problem with the team in general. Now, that is inflated by the interceptions he had last week, but the Jets were without their best corner, but they're still a very good defense. Passing yards, Jalen Hurts is 8th in the NFL. And the rushing attack, it's mostly coming from somewhere else. Now, the Eagles have certainly got better in the backfield. They have certainly upgraded from Miles Sanders. DeAndre Swift, I have my own personal questions of DeAndre Swift, and they have pretty much all been answered. He can be a workhorse back. He doesn't have He doesn't have the big body strength of a workhorse, but with this offense, what they ask him to do, he can be the bell cow. But they don't ask him to be. They still have Boston Scott. They still have Kenneth Gainwell. And so far this year, they're second in the lead in rushing yards. Jalen Hurts has rushed the ball slightly less, but again, when he rushed the ball 750 yards last year, he's projected this year to finish around 715. It's not too big of a drop off. Just more of the carries are going to their running backs. So again, it's just a matter of getting used to things. Sixth in total touchdowns. Excuse me. The red zone, they have had some issues. They're 13th in the 13th in the red zone in red zone touchdowns, and they're 23rd in red zone touchdown percentage. So with the amount of times they're getting to the red zone, they're walking away without a touchdown more often than not. And that is something that, that is definitely concerning. What are you going to do when you get to the red area? What are you going to do when it's, the rubber hits the road? That's the saying I was looking for. So they have not been able to find the end zone as much. They're really good on third down. They have the best third down offense, and they are only 12th in the NFL in sacks allowed. And then you flip over to their defense, and it is what you would expect it to be. They are 4th in points, 5th in sacks. They don't get a lot of turnovers. 4th, or is that 5th rather, in interceptions. 12th in total turnovers. They allow the 12th least amount of yards. And then you look at you look at their defense against the pass. Oh, was I looking at the Dolphins? No, I wasn't. You look at their defense against the pass, and you see where some of the issues have started to come. 29th in passing touchdowns, 30th in total pass attempts, so that kind of lines up. But then you look at the rushing defense, second least amount of rushing yards allowed, 12th rushing touchdowns allowed, and both sides of the ball, they're struggling in the red zone. 25th in red zone touchdowns, 25th in red zone touchdown percentage. And I think that is due to coaching. I think that is due to them not having a familiarity with each other yet. Jalen Hurts and the offensive coordinator not on the same page. The defense and the defensive coordinator not on the same page, and trying to feel each other out, see what each other's strengths are. And when the field gets limited, that's when coaching really comes into play. Play calling, trusting your players to make plays. It's not quite there yet for the Eagles. On offense, this might be the game. On defense, this is not going to be the game for the Eagles to find that out. The Dolphins' defense has obviously been speculative at best so far this season. And so I can see the Eagles' offense getting this figured out a little bit this week, but I think the defense is going to struggle against the Dolphins. But this is still a very good team. This is still a very good team on both sides of the ball. Injury bugs certainly affecting them. So a lot of the media have started to kind of not turn their back, but just stick your nose a little bit at the Eagles. It's kind of just Toy Story, like, I don't want to play with you anymore. You're not fun anymore, even though they're just as good and in some ways better than they were last year. Let me catch up on the comments. Raphael Jen Carter nursing an injury. Yes, he is. Lost running back Garner CB. I mean, they lost Miles Sanders, but like I just said, they were able to get DeAndre Swift. So I'd say that's certainly an upgrade. CJ Gardner-Johnson losing him without a doubt. A massive loss for that secondary. I believe he didn't lead the league in interceptions last year. Doesn't Tua throw the ball fast? That is the Eagles' problem too. Yes. So Tua, and part thanks for the offensive line so far this year and how they're playing, he's very comfortable dropping back and hitting his mark. And the Dolphins love to live 15 to 25 yards in the middle of the field. For some reason, we just have the distinct ability that drop back, 1, 2. Okay, now Tyreek Hill's cutting open 20 yards down the line of scrimmage. From the line of scrimmage, it's just like clockwork. But that then backs up the corners, backs up the middle linebackers a little bit, and then Tua has the ability to get it out quick. Hit that slot guy. Hit Braxton Berrios, let him take it for 12 yards, catching it right at the line of scrimmage, basically. We have the ability to hit all layers of the field. We prefer to hit middle of the field, again, about 20 yards beyond the line of scrimmage, but that then opens up those wide receiver screens. That opens up, not going to be this week, opens up Devon Achane to take an end around, to take an outside run. And then that threat opens up Tyreek Hill down the field. It's just a beautiful conglomerate of, okay, you got to worry about this, now we're going to do this. Okay, now you're going to worry about this, we're going to do this. Now you're going to worry about this, we're going to do... Like, it's just, it all works so symmetrical and beautifully. And Tua has been about the perfect operator of it so far. Offense looks sloppy. Eagles, Hurts 7 for 7. Hurts pressured Hurts like a lot what they did with Josh Allen. So that's something actually I'll get to in a moment. And actually, just kind of reiterate on a video I made earlier this week. Out of every throw you throw that to Smith, the route was getting smaller and smaller. I love Devonta Smith. I traded for him in my dynasty league, and he was able to get those deep shots earlier on in the season. Just that connection between him and Hurts hasn't been there since those first couple of weeks. He had a couple drops last week, and he spoke about. So Devonta Smith, I think this is a good game for him to break out. Let's say Xavier Howard does play. Xavier Howard will likely be on A.J. Brown. You've got pretty much the rest of your corners, not named Eli Apple, also on the injury report or yet to play. So who's lining up on Devonta Smith? Could be a situation where Xavier gets a piece of both, keep them on their toes, but it's probably going to be Eli Apple. It's probably going to be Eli Apple on Devonta Smith, and I don't have to be the first to tell you that Eli Apple is not the best corner in the world. Raphael, what you just said, the Jets pressured Hurts like they did Josh Allen, and I made a video earlier this week that I think the Jets gave us a very good blueprint on how to beat the Eagles and how to give Jalen Hurts a rough time. Don't give him that time in the pocket. Now, a lot of that is due to Lane Johnson missing majority of the game. There's a chance he misses all of the game on Sunday, so that's something that can be replicated. But they were throwing so many different pressure packages at him. Having 6 guys line up at the line of scrimmage. You got to overload one side, have a corner blitz. They had Jalen Hurts very uneasy in that entire second half. He did not know where the rusher was coming from. Sometimes he did know where the rusher was coming from, and the offensive line on that weaker side with Lane Johnson going down at right tackle. I'm not sure who the backup right tackle is, but he did not have a great game last week. And the Jets just threw constant pressure at Jalen Hurts and trusted their secondary to sit back and do their job. The difference between the Jets and the Dolphins, even though Sauce was out, is that I don't trust our secondary to do that. Our best player in the secondary this year has been Javon Holland, and he's having himself a very good year. I'm very happy with where he's at. But Xavier Howard has had some moments where you're like, the Patriots game, was it the Patriots game? Well, no, it was the Chargers game. I think he had like 4 defensive holding / pass interference calls. He hasn't had his best game, or hasn't been up to his best so far this season. And then who on God's green earth is guarding Devonta Smith? Raphael, Cater, Apple. Cater, if healthy, cool. Confident, cool with that. If it's Eli Apple, which Eli Apple was on Darren Waller, who one could say is the Giants' leading receiver, even though he's not a wide receiver, that kind of leads me to believe. And then last week again, I'm in my different seats, so I couldn't see analytically. Like, I couldn't see, where Eli Apple was lining up on each day. I was watching on the side. I love my seats up in the end zone because I can analytically look at everything. I'm a nerd like that. I get to see the defensive coverages and see what went wrong. Like, I do kind of like that. So I didn't get to see last week what packages or who Eli Apple was guarding. Whoever was, or for that nature, anybody. Whoever was guarding Adam Thielen. Dear God. 2 wide receivers that are certainly better than Adam. Adam Thielen, great veteran, been one of the best receivers in the NFL this year. I mean, in this game that we got going on here, we have number 1 and number 2 in yards between Tyreek Hill and A.J. Brown. Adam Thielen is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10th in the NFL, 509 yards. Adam Thielen having a very serviceable year. You know who's having a better year than him? A.J. Brown. You know who, not right now, but will be better than him? Devonta Smith. You know whose secondary sucks? Miami Dolphins. Needham, still not sure if he's going to play. Justin Bethel, Just another one of the guys that I don't trust. If Lane Johnson is out, we may generate some pressure. Yeah, it's exactly what I was saying about what the Jets did last week. Overload the right side of that offensive line. You can have Jalen Hurts staring right at you pre-snap. But if he doesn't have confidence in his right tackle to block, that completely changes his game. Jalen Hurts, and you can definitely say the same thing about Tua. Jalen Hurts needs to feel comfortable. He has more than Tua the ability to make a play when uncomfortable because he can use his feet. And if he's able to get to the outside, if the defensive line isn't able to keep contain, then oh crap. You're playing man-to-man defense and he breaks contain? Okay, well, we'll see you 20 yards down the field where he's going to slide. He has the ability to do that. But if you can keep contain and get in his face, this Eagles offense is going to have a lot of trouble. Dolphins, what was it? I just looked at it a second ago. I didn't break down the Dolphins stats, but the Dolphins defense, third in the NFL in sacks. Had 4 last week. Wilkins had a good game. Zeeler had a good game. Van Ginkel, didn't really see too much out of him, but Zeeler had a good game. Wilkins had a good game. That interior of the defensive line had a good game. Bradley Chubb had a sack. And then Jalen Phillips is going to be another week healthier. And then obviously you still have Emmanuel Ogbah. You can just have a rotating door. Freshest guy on the field, go against whoever the right tackle is. This is all assuming Lane Johnson isn't able to play. And even if Lane Johnson isn't able to play, I still rather who's the Eagles left tackle? I know it's somebody really good. What's his name? I know who he is, but I don't want to mispronounce his name, just like the other guy. Is it like Motai or something like that? You Google search Eagles offensive lineman, and they just show you guys from the 70s. I don't want to see that. If one of you guys beat me to it, beat me to it. I don't care. Obviously, Jason Kelsey's still great. Center OT is what I'm looking for, I think, which is T. Where am I? Oh, Jordan Mailata. Jordan Mailata. That's who I was thinking of. I'd rather have, again, a rotating door at right tackle, or going at the right tackle, than going at Jordan Mailata anyways. So, whether it's an injured Lane Johnson or somebody else, I need to see constant pressure coming off that right edge. Again, I don't care if Jalen Hurts is in shotgun or in pistol formation and he's staring right at you. Don't care. Don't care. What are you going to do? Again, as long as you keep contained, so that you need the defensive tackle, whether it's Wilkins, whether it's Zeeler, or and then outside, whether it's Van Ginkel, whether it's Ogbah, whether it's Phillips, whether it's Chubb. Y'all can just aim that little to the right, keep him in the pocket. Even if you don't get there, that pressure completely turns Jalen Hurts into a different passer. What were his stats against the Jets? It certainly wasn't his best outing, to say the least. Again, 7 for 7 is rough enough as it is where he's at right now as in the NFL. 62% completion percentage, 280 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions, including was sacked twice, including the worst play of the game. The worst play he's probably had all year long, just right to the corner. I was either sitting in this chair or laying right there in bed watching Red Zone, and my jaw just dropped, because we've seen him become a better passer in recent years. We've seen his completion percentage go up. We've seen his QBR go up. QBR 54, passer rating 59.5. We've seen him become a better pocket passer. And he just lost all of what we've seen him get better at in recent years in the second half of that game. The Dolphins can take that and take advantage of the injuries on the offensive line and just get in his face, harass him, make him uncomfortable, make him second guess himself. Because he's a very confident person. I love Jalen Hurts when he's not playing the Dolphins. I love watching Jalen Hurts play. He's very cool. He's very confident, but it's not a stick your chest out cool. It's very just okay. settle down. Very, very just, okay. Like, I was making the thumbnail, and the ESPN picture of him has him smiling like, that ain't right. That ain't right. Just straight face, business. I'm here to do my job. Let's do my job. That's what he's like. When you can get him to question himself, when you can get him not so confident about the offense, not confident where he's going to go with the football, not confident what his first option is, not confident about who's coming at him, he turned into a different player. And he turned into a player that I believe we can very much take advantage of on Sunday. If he breaks contain, if he gets in that passing rhythm, if he gets in a rhythm of being able to run the ball, okay, that's a problem. But if you can consistently get pressure in his face, if you can send Cater on a corner blitz, Bethel on a corner blitz, if you can get Ogba in the backfield, rotate him out, get Chubb in the backfield, like get a constant rotating door, attacking that right tackle position, I love it. If we had a $100 million defensive end that we traded a first-round pick for, we probably could get some pressure. I mean, that $100 million defensive end has not been up to standard. You know, he's playing very all right. Like, he's not playing at a level that is necessarily worthy of criticism. 2 sacks, 6 games. The money he's being paid, that is certainly worthy of criticism. Because when you have Christian Wilkins, who still hasn't got a contract signed, Andrew Van Ginkel, who I believe is set to be a free agent at the end of this year, Zach Zeeler, who got paid. You have your 1, 2, 3, 4. You're 5th on the team in sacks, just a half sack ahead of Jerome Baker. That's not what you gave up a first-round pick for. It's not what you gave up $100 million for. But he has been applying pressure. We saw last year, similar to this year, except he's finishing a little bit more this year. He was applying pressure, just not quite getting there soon enough and not quite applying enough pressure. Every single play, he seems to get like within a half yard to the quarterback, which, don't be confused at all that I'm justifying this and saying that, oh, that's good enough, because it's not. It is certainly not. For the money he's being paid, for what we gave up for him, for being the starting edge rusher on a defense that's played bad so far this year, it's certainly not enough. Don't be misconstrued. But it's gotten better. And if he's going at a backup right tackle, as well as Jalen Phillips, I'm pretty satisfied. I'm pretty happy. Especially if Jalen Phillips, another week where he's healthier, I feel confident that we can get pressure on Jalen Hurts, and that's going to be the key of the game. Oh, 750. It's any guys just popping in. Oh, you crack your back every now and then. It's just go up your back, and it's just. I need to take a celebratory sip of water for that. That was beautiful. Right before I went live here, did some back at the gym, back and biceps. Trying to get the weight up and the weight off at the same time. Eating healthy. I've been on my grind since October started, and it's been beautiful. Sober October, no drinking, no nothing. All of October. Been hitting the gym regularly. Been eating good. Feels good. My body feels great. I'm probably going to get Chick-fil-A after this. Don't tell anybody. Okay. About that time, he gets to the actual interview. Jeez, dear Lord Jacob. Preview. So, on Sunday Night Football. Second Sunday Night Football game of the year. Beautiful seeing the Dolphins more regularly. In these primetime games, got one more to go in the regular season. If you want to count the Friday game that we have as a primetime game, go right ahead. It's basically a glorified Thursday night game. But one more after this, Dolphins-Titans Monday Night Football. I will be there at that one. Unfortunately, not going to be at this one. Donovan tried to convince me to go to this one. I was just like, brother, I do not got the facilities for that. I do not have the cash on hand for that. But up in Philadelphia, and this is arguably the best time you could be playing the Eagles. Mentioned earlier here in the stream, beat up secondary. Jalen Hurts coming off one of his worst games as a pro. The offense is still not in sync with what the coordinator wants to do. Curtis, I'm so happy for you. I wish I could be doing the same. The offense is still not quite linked up with the offensive coordinator. It's a little murky. The stats show that this is still a very good football team, a team that's going to be in it at the end of the year, that is likely going to win their division. that, probably is going to finish just short of the 49ers for that number 1 seed, but they're going to play at home in the playoffs until they play the Niners in the championship game. Very good team. Gotten better in some ways. DeAndre Swift, I think, is a big upgrade on Miles Sanders. And they did lose some pieces. They lost C.J. Gardner-Johnson. Massive impact that he had in the secondary, especially right now if they did have him healthy. I'm sure the Eagles and Eagles fans that we've had here in the chat feel a lot better about the Eagles on Sunday. And then you look at the Miami Dolphins. The Devon Achane injury has certainly affected the team in a negative way. Had to run more plays. Our efficiency was less last week, but still got the job done. Missing that speed on the ability to get around to the outside and even run up the middle, just that extra uncertainty that you give to the defense with Devon Achane on the field has certainly affected opposing teams' defenses, and I'm sure would affect the Philadelphia Eagles in this instance. So much talent on both sides of the ball. You look at the Eagles on offense. It starts obviously with Jalen Hurts, we just got finished talking about, DeAndre Swift, A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith. It's so much going on there, so many different options. Dallas Goedert, who has had himself a slow start of the year, but you still know is very talented. There's so many different things you can do with those guys on the field. A.J. Brown, big body, dog. Devonta Smith, streaky, hits you down the field, gets open really good, has good hands. Dallas Goedert, really good at just utilizing space. It's a typical tight end in that nature. DeAndre Swift can do it out of the backfield, can do it in the receiving game. Defense, certainly beat up. And then you have two of the best head coaches in the league and two coaches that I would love to play for. Nick Sirianni really embraces the city of Philadelphia. That first press conference he had was kind of wonky, but I think it made Eagles fans like him even more because he goes up to that podium, that first initial press conference, and is stumbling over his words. He's choking over his words. It wasn't great. He doesn't have a future in broadcasting after he's done as a head coach like Sean McVay might. But he's about his business, and he gets results, and that's what the city of Philadelphia is all about. Do your job. Shows that he cares. He's passionate. You saw him in the stands after the Buccaneers game, high-fiving fans and stuff like that. He's a dog. The people behind him are all dogs. If you know what clip I'm talking about, you know. Just everything about this Eagles team I enjoy. And then the Dolphins, ingenious, absolute genius from a head coach who, like we were talking about earlier, can deploy so many different things. You want to hit the ball over the middle of the field, 20 yards down the field. Okay, cool. Sets up the wide receiver screen. Sets up an end around to Raheem Mostert. Sets around Devon Achane to get open in space. Okay, now you're guarding against that. Okay, boom. Tyreek Hill over the middle of the field. Have a great rest of your day. So much can go on in this Miami Dolphins offense at any given time. And both of these defenses are pretty beat up, especially in the secondary. This is going to be, I'm going to probably guess, the best game on Sunday. I don't remember the games off the top of my head. Don't ask me. Don't care. This is probably going to be the best game on Sunday. And it's so right to be on Sunday Night Football. We've had some primetime games that have not quite lived up to the belt of what we wanted them to. Last week, two very good games. Low-scoring game between the Giants and the Bills. Obviously, we wanted that to go differently. Eagles fans that are watching here, I'm sure you're actually probably happy with how that went. But it was an entertaining, low-scoring game, which we don't have a lot of those anymore. And then that Monday night game between the Cowboys and the Chargers, again, that game didn't go the way you guys wanted to, Eagles fans. It went the way that we wanted to. So it was a yin-yang, a give and take in that one. And then you have the Dolphins and the Eagles. I don't think many people would argue, two top 5 teams in this league. The Eagles just lost. The Dolphins haven't played or haven't beaten, except for the Chargers, a true top team in this league. And the Chargers, with their coaching, Herbert's a little beat up right now. How many people, what would you say where they are? Are they a top 10 team? Probably not right now. But at their best, when it's all said and done, they're probably going to make the playoffs. But this is a massive test for the Miami Dolphins. What is Tua going to look like going against this Philadelphia Eagles front? What is he going to look like when the offensive line, who so far this season has much improved on where they looked last year, now they get to come against probably the defensive rookie of the year, assuming he's healthy. They have quite a few injury issues that they have to deal with, just like we do our own. But if Jalen Carter plays, he is one of the most disruptive players in all of football, and is going to be a massive headache for this Dolphins team. Dolphins have two guys that, for their position, lead the league in yards. Tua with just under 1,900 yards, 14 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Tyreek Hill just over 800 yards, 814 yards, 6 touchdowns. Leads A.J. Brown, who is second in the NFL in yards. Tyreek with his 814, 672 for A.J. Brown. This game is going to come down to, unfortunately, injuries are going to have a massive impact on this game, but this game is going to come down to whose quarterback is going to be given the opportunity to operate at their best ability. And that is, as an NFL fan, taking my Dolphins fan hat off, as an NFL fan, that's exactly what I want. I want to see whose quarterback is going to lead their team to victory. And that is what it's going to come to. The secondaries for both teams are not going to do a great job of stopping it, but the defensive lines for both teams is going to be a problem on both sides of the ball. We already talked about Jalen Carter on the defensive side for the Eagles. Also, a bunch of other guys on that defensive line. On the other side for the Dolphins, Christian Wilkins, Zach Zeeler are a menace up the middle, and then that right tackle position being up in the air, Lane Johnson potentially out. Even if he does play a hobbled Lane Johnson, there's a lot of questions to be asked on that side. And both of these quarterbacks, if you can apply pressure, if you can get in their face, if you can disrupt their timing, it is a little harder for them to operate their offenses. Jalen Hurts has the ability to get outside, but if you keep that contained, you get pressure in his face, you see a 3-interception game. What the Bills did against Tua to limit the big plays, put 3 safeties deep, just like the Patriots did, limit those big plays from Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. Tua has that innate ability just to get the ball out of his hands quickly, but we do thrive on the big plays. And we haven't had too many drives of, 6-yard pass, 8-yard pass, 4-yard rush, okay, first down. Like those nickel and dime, we haven't had a lot of double-digit play drives so far this season. So I think that is key number one for the Eagles is keep a cap on the top of the defense. Do not get beat deep, which if you're playing without Darius Slay, you're already playing without Maddox, probably missing Colby as well. It's going to be a difficult task. It's easier said than done. There's going to be a lot of scheme to it. They do have 2 good corners that they replaced the corners they lost last year. But it is a tall task, especially for Desai on the defense, to have that game plan, which is the correct game plan, limit the over-the-top bombs from the Dolphins. But when you're doing it with backup corners, like we saw eventually, when you have so many different things to guard against, when you have to worry about the middle of the field, when you have to worry about the screen, and then you have to worry about the deep shot, when there's so many things you have to keep your mind on, it's very difficult to do that, especially when you're going out there with backups. 2 X factors for the game on either side. For the Philadelphia Eagles, I feel like it has to be Jalen Carter. Jalen Carter, if he is able to get in the backfield, even if he doesn't sack Tua, if might be without Connor Williams again, still not practicing. See, if he's able to disrupt the middle, up right in front of Tua into his face, Tua still has the ability to get the ball out of his hands quickly. But now how this offense is playing, he would like to hold the ball for a second longer and hit Tyreek Hill just wandering wide open across the middle of the field, which he seems to do every single game, every other play, seems like. If Jalen Carter can get up the middle, just big body guy, big, really disruptive, one of the best defensive players in all of football, certainly in line to win Defensive Rookie of the Year. If he can disrupt that the middle, and get in there on the pass rush, it's going to be very difficult for Tua. So big X factor there on the defensive side for the Eagles. On offense, I'd love to sit here and say Julio Jones. If I had to guess, I don't think Julio Jones is going to play. It takes a long time to learn playbooks. And then a guy his age, what is he, 34, 35, 36 years old, whatever he is, it takes a while to get into that playing shape that, when he was younger, when he was on the Falcons, I'm sure he'd pop in after missing time and just go right in and be at 100%. But when he has to learn the playbook, when he has to get accustomed, I do not expect him to play in this game, just like Jalen Ramsey's not going to play for the Dolphins. On offense for the Eagles, I'm gonna give it to DeAndre Swift. Those first few drives that we saw against the Panthers, where Chuba Hubbard and Bryce Young too, but Chuba Hubbard was getting whatever he wanted on the ground. Ended the first drive with a touchdown, and then was a big part of getting him down the field and getting Adam Thielen in the end zone the second drive. They kept the Dolphins on the sideline. When the Dolphins offense wasn't on the field, Panthers were having a good time. Obviously, duh, makes sense. Oh, we have the ability to score points and you don't. Your offense is over there. Our offense is right here. Obviously, that sounds like a good time. But if DeAndre Swift, who has had himself a very good year up to this point, so far this season, I believe he has a hair over 400 yards, 452 yards, has gotten the end zone twice. He has been a guy who can just go pick up 7 yards, especially behind that offensive line. Go pick up 7 yards. Go pick up that first down. And if Jalen Hurts, if the defensive line is getting a lot of pressure on Jalen Hurts, he's a guy you can dump it off to. He's a guy you can hand the ball off to change the pace of play. I really like him as an addition to this Philadelphia Eagles roster. Over for the Miami Dolphins. X Factors, I started on defense. For the Eagles, who want to start on defense again. Jalen Phillips. He was limited last week, only played 30 snaps after missing a few games with his oblique injury, but he is probably going to be a full go. We looked at the practice or the injury report today, and he was a full go in practice with that injury. So him being back from that injury, feeling healthier, probably not going to be at all on a snap count this week, going against either a battered Lane Johnson or a backup right tackle. The ability to get into the backfield, disrupt Jalen Hurts, it's going to be massive on defense for the Miami Dolphins. On offense, I gave it to the Eagles running back. I'm going to do the same. Raheem Mostert, are you going to be able to continue your all-worldly pace? What is it, 11 total touchdowns on the season for Raheem Mostert, something like that? He's got 9 touchdowns in the rushing attack. And then he has 1. So 10 total touchdowns, already in double-digit touchdowns, 6 games into the season. He just continues to find a way into the end zone, coming off of a 3-touchdown game. Still is behind Devon Achane, despite Achane only playing 4 games this year. But 429 yards, picking up 5.7 yards a carry. Has that speed, has that breakaway speed. Not quite as good as DeAndre Swift, but he's been dangerous in the red zone. It feels like whenever you hand the ball off to him in the red zone, he just finds a way to get into the end zone or set him up on the 1-yard line and then proceed to get into the end zone. The difference in this game could be the level of teams once they get to the red zone because, again, both secondaries pretty beat up. Dolphins defense hasn't shown a lot this year, and the Eagles are going to be struggling to keep up on defense with the Dolphins. And then you look at those red zone numbers, which has been very concerning for the Philadelphia Eagles so far this season. When they get to the end zone, they only score they're 23rd in the NFL in getting touchdowns once they get to the red zone. They're 13th in red zone touchdowns, which doesn't sound very bad, but when you look at the rest of their offense, you look at where they stack up with all these other great offenses in the NFL, you expect them to do better once they get there. So they do struggle once they get to the red zone to score touchdowns, but then you look at the Miami Dolphins. They are number 1 in red zone attempts. They are number 1 in red zone touchdowns. They're number 1 in red zone touchdown percentage. The Dolphins get the job done when they get to the red zone, and they get to the red zone a lot. 5 for 5 last week in the red zone. I expect that to continue this week. I expect this to be a very good game. I expect it to be an absolute shootout. Kind of similar to the Chargers game. Obviously, I hope we kind of take it away a little easier than we did in that game, but it was still a very fun game to watch. Before I give mine, Donovan, who clearly is not here today, he texted me earlier today. I already knew he was going to miss, so he wanted to give me his prediction to give to you guys. He texted me, go ahead and give my prediction of the final score, 47-46 Miami. God, would that be a great game? That would be... All you got to do is win by 1 point. I'm a Dolphins fan. I'm an NFL fan. That Chargers game was amazing. I wish every game would be like that, where toe for toe, shot for shot, they're throwing haymakers. Justin Herbert is just a dog. Austin Eckler's a dog. They're getting it done. Keenan Allen has had an incredible season. Started off in week 1. Last team with the ball theoretically wins. Wasn't quite the case with the Chargers. They did have one more opportunity. Vic Fangio said, "Hey, Justin Herbert, here, taste our defensive line." So I hope that's the case. I hope Donovan's right with the 47-46. That would, what is that? 93 total points. Is Jacob's math correct? Let's hope so. Jacob is going to go with a high-scoring game as well. Again, 2 teams beat up defenses, specifically beat up secondaries. 2 teams that can pass the ball. Tua has the most passing yards in the league. Jalen Hurts, 8th most passing yards in the league. The injuries, I think, affect the Eagles a little bit more. Again, secondary. Every single game, they've had a secondary player miss. Darius Slay might miss the game. You look at other guys on their defense. Bradley Roby did not practice, still has not practiced this week. He might miss the game. Reed Blankenship with his rib injury, he has not practiced so far this week. Missing Maddox. So those injuries, as well as Devonta Smith, question whether he's going to play with his hamstring injury. It does suck that part of it does come down to injuries, but it is a real thing. I trust the Dolphins offense a little bit more. Neither defense is going to be at 100%. Two great head coaches, but I would just give a slight nod to Mike McDaniel. Tua versus Jalen Hurts. I'm going to give it to Tua so far this season, and he is in form. 14 touchdowns, only 5 interceptions, lead the league in passing. I'm going to go with a Miami Dolphins victory. I'm going to go with a score of 33-30. I don't know what the spread is, but I imagine the Eagles are favorites. So my end, 33-30. Liz, she just texted me, Eagles win it. I knew that was coming at some point. 47-46 is Donovan's score. So hey, I think it's going to be a great game. Liz, since you just popped in, what's your score? So we've already had one Eagles fan pop in here and talk with us. Shout out to Jada. Shout out to everybody who's been in the stream here today. Shout out to Raphael. Shout out to Curtis. Curtis, I know you're having a good time. We get big runs, but we have Achane and Mostert on the field at the same time. Dude, when they're on the field at the same time, it's so difficult to guard. Like, how do you guard everybody? Like, I've always said this. I mean, about specifically like the Bengals. Like, okay, cool. Defense is walking out. Like, okay, hey, I got Jamar Chase. Okay, cool. Trust you get Jamar Chase. Okay. Who's got T. Higgins? Okay, I got T. Higgins. Okay, cool. You got T. Higgins. Okay, who has Tyler Boyd? Who has Joe Mixon? Who's paying attention to Joe Burrow? Crap. That's us now. These the Eagles too. You know? Who's got AJ Brown? Okay, I got AJ Brown. Okay, who's got Devonta Smith? Okay, you got Devonta Smith. Who's got DeAndre Smith out of the backfield? Okay, I guess you got. Okay, who has Dallas Goedert over the middle? Crap. I guess you got him. Who's paying attention to Jalen Hurts? And then now the Dolphins. Who's got Tyreek Hill? That's obviously been the hardest decision to make so far in the NFL this season. You know, he's been the best player in the NFL. If not MVP, certainly Offensive Player of the Year. Okay, who's got Jalen Waddle? Okay, who's got Devon Achane? Who's got Raheem Mostert? Now, Tua's not going to run the ball, but like he can if he wants to. You know, next thing you know, Durham Smythe is just casually jogging. Like, oh, he just picked up 15 yards. Braxton Berrios, he casually picked up 15 yards. Over Craycraft, he's hurt. And now guess who's coming on in? Hey guys, look, it's Chase Claypool. Are you good? I don't know either. Yeah, we'll see. We'll find out. It's going to be fun. Liz says Eagles win 28-21. Our resident Eagles fan who watches every single live stream. So thank you for tuning in, Liz. Raphael, 24-20. Dolphins. I like it. I like it a little bit more high scoring. But hey, Dolphins win. Either way, you're not going to hear any complaining out of me. I just muscled through a whole stream by myself. Didn't miss a beat. Quite parched, I will say. Curtis, if you're still talking, or you're still in here, you have your pizza, you're enjoying your blunt, I will not be doing the second part. I might go get myself some Chick-fil-A. I've been doing good, okay? I've been doing really good. Like, I've been doing so good to the point that now when I eat fried food, I feel a little bit gross. Like, at the Dolphins game on Sunday, we had my mom and my stepdad. I sat with my mom because my stepdad was in the hospital earlier last week, and he decided not to go to the game. But for the rest of the season, they got these passes to go into the members lounge, which is a lounge in the. I'm not sure how many of you guys go to Dolphins games, have season tickets, or have been since they've constructed the garage for the F1 races, Formula 1 races that take place there. And they have a massive lounge area. Jeez, what was the point? Oh, massive lounge area. In like the middle of it. You go in there. We went in there before the game. We got to watch the Ravens and the Titans play. Uh, I like the Ravens also, so I was very happy about that. Also, Derrick Henry scored a touchdown. Very happy about that. Zay Flowers scored a touchdown. Fantasy purposes, really happy about that. But we were sitting there. I had a night. I had a corned beef sandwich with some sauerkraut and some Thousand Islands. So not fried. I'm not saying it's healthy. It was like rye, sourdough rye, or I don't know what the bread was. It was okay, but the corned beef was really good. Sauerkraut was good. The Thousand Islands was really good. I know the Thousand Islands not healthy. Sauerkraut isn't that just like cabbage, like caramelized cabbage or something like that. That was really good. So I felt good after eating that. Not fried, sliced meat, cool. During halftime, we go in there. I'm hungry, and I got some. My mom and I got some. We got some like sweet Thai chicken tenders and some fries. And I just felt so gross. Like I felt disgusting because like my stomach is starting to get accustomed to eating salad, to eating grilled chicken, healthy yogurt, protein bars, like not fried, not high in sugar, not high in sodium. Well, I mean, I eat some my chips that I eat right now, baked cheddar and sour cream Ruffles. But like since October started, I've been really good about how I'm doing health wise, cutting back on the crappy foods, going to the gym, back in biceps today. Let's see. Coming along. Nothing crazy. Triceps coming in. You see that? Ooh, hand just cramped up. I know you see that, Liz. Come on. Holla at you, boy. So health wise, we're doing better, but I go over to FAUOwlsNest.com or FAU Owl's Nest also on YouTube. Subscribe over there. I have to blaze after I eat. Not going to jail for what? I have to blaze after I eat. Not going to jail for killing cop horse. Oh, are you referring to like eating? If you gotta eat when you get home, or you gotta smoke when you get home? I don't know what you're saying. But the salad, the thing that sucks about eating healthy is I'm allergic to every single fruit and most vegetables. I'm allergic to lettuce. I'm allergic to celery. I'm allergic to carrots, pineapple, strawberry, watermelon, apples. You name it. All of it. And so it's like, okay, I want to eat healthy. I want to lose weight. Okay, cool. What are you gonna eat? Okay, can't have strawberry. Grilled chicken. I got these like yogurts that are nice. That have I don't think they have any real fruit in it, so like it doesn't my allergies aren't that bad, so occasionally I still eat some fruit and vegetables. They're closes up just a little bit, but nothing too bad. But again, eating healthier. But it's just like, what are my options? It's just like it's just mostly grilled chicken or just like less bad for you food, like not necessarily good. Like so, like I'll have some sliced turkey, or I'll have I had this frozen not lean cuisine, but I got this frozen bowl that was 320 calories. It had chicken, rice, some other stuff, other healthy stuff in it, but it's frozen. It's got preservatives. It's got a whole you look at the ingredients labels, what's going into my body. I was drinking this, obviously not sponsored, but if you would like to sponsor, Ghost Energy, we love it around here. But you look at the ingredients: carbonated water, okay, cool. Natural and artificial flavor, cool. Citric acid, cool. Carnipure, carnitine, tartane, taurine, natural caffeine, okay, we know what that is. Sucralose, alpha GPC, which is alpha glycerol phosphorol choline, sodium benzoate preservative, beautiful. Preservatives mean I live longer, right? Because it preserves the inside of my body. Ascorbic acid, acesulfame potassium, neurofactor coffee, fruit extract, estrogen, niacinamide. That doesn't sound healthy. That doesn't sound like it should be put. Niacinamide? What is that? Pyridoxal? Pyridoxal? Methylcobalamin. 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 What is that? What crap am I putting into my body? Let's see, my protein bar have an ingredients label on it. These are fire, by the way. Pure protein mint chocolate chip. You can't get these at Publix for my Florida people. You can get these at Walmart though. I was eating the strawberry cream one. Mint chocolate chip. Look at that. 19 grams of protein, 180 calories. Ate one of these before we started. Had a few crackers too, just to hold me over and have some salty. It doesn't have the ingredients label on here. Natural flavored with other naturally flavored with other natural flavors. What am I putting in my body? What does that mean? What do you mean by naturally flavored with other natural flavors? Look at that. Naturally flavored. I know Larry's kind of crazy. Naturally flavored with other natural flavors. What does that even mean? Jason, what am I eating this? Why don't I just go eat some Chick-fil-A instead? I stopped eating Popeyes. Popeyes would make me feel so gross. And like I didn't realize it till I ate it less. I love Popeyes chicken sandwich. I love Popeyes fries. I love Popeyes black and ranch. It's so good, but I felt disgusting every time. Like Chick-fil-A is like the last fast food. Taco Bell doesn't make me feel gross, ironically. Pollo Tropical, like place I can get like grilled chicken. So like Pollo, Moe's, Chipotle, Taco Bell. If you have a Bolé by you, amazing establishment, delicious. Like those places don't feel that gross, but like McDonald's, Wendy's, Popeyes, just delicious food. I feel gross afterwards. But this is it for the show. I'll say this is the last show. This is not the last show. We'll see y'all next week. Donovan should be back next. Oops, just kicked you guys. My apologies. Bringing you back. This is it for me here today. We appreciate y'all watching. How many people did we have in here? 48 people in here. Got 2 of y'all in here right now. I don't know if y'all are still in here, but again, Raphael, Curtis, Liz on the phone texting me, Jadis, haven't heard from you, but Jadis kicking off the stream with a bunch of comments. Great time hanging out with y'all today. If you haven't done so already, hit that subscribe button. We appreciate it. This is what you get. You're not getting ESPN. The Miami Dolphins are playing the Philadelphia Eagles at 8:30 on Sunday. Like, we're going to talk about Ghost Energy Drink, which, again, I love this. This is my favorite energy drink right now. Tropical mango. Delicious. It is, so it's sparkling. This is my favorite energy drink. Second would be peach mango Celsius. Delicious. So, in case you can't tell, there's a theme. I love mango. I love peach. In more ways than one. So this is what we talk stupid. I'm talking to myself. What am I doing? Think about if you explained live streaming to somebody from like the 1970s. Go back in time, like, hey, you're potentially gonna sit in your room by yourself. Your family's gonna walk by, like, what is this kid talking about? What like? I'm saying pyral out loud. It's so weird. I'm sorry. I'm rambling. I'm hungry, so I'm gonna get you food. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button. If you missed any of the stream and you'd like to watch next few days, we're gonna be coming out with some clips. So tune in for that. And the easy way to do that, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell. We got a few of y'all that have the bell notifications on, and we appreciate y'all. All right, I don't think any of y'all are in here today, but we can see a few of y'all have that bell. Click. So we love y'all. All right, love y'all. Yeah, do all that. I don't know. I really suck at ending these things, in case you can't tell. $5 if anybody guesses what I'm about to eat. I'll go back and look at the comments at some point. It's Chick-fil-A, so there's limited options. use promo code Sciafall.